Myles Garrett refusing to take a step in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Don't even want to visit it. We'll tell you why. Actually, we're not too upset about that. And what superstitions do we have that still hold true to this day? We'll talk about all of that and more on the next Locked On Browns podcast.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound, LGB on the LOB, the Locked On Browns podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Appreciate everybody who makes Locked On Browns their first listen day in, day out. Whether it is on your favorite podcast app, make sure you follow and subscribe to the show. 5-star ratings, written reviews. And we want to thank everybody now taking us YouTube over the 1,000 subscriber mark. Big appreciation.
That's what I'm
less
talking
than
about.
one calendar month. I think we're right at about 22, 23 episodes. So big appreciation there. Of course, thanks. Good friends, Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, giving us that little push yesterday. Just going to continue to go out every day, give you guys the best Cleveland Browns content we can, whether it is through the world of civil trials, whether it is through OTAs, whether it's through actual Browns football. It was actually funny. We got an email yesterday from David Locke. David Locke, if anybody doesn't know, he is, the founder, the owner of the Locked On Podcast Network. And this time of the year, it starts to slow down a little bit football-wise. And David jokingly said over, you guys okay? You hurting for any topics? No, we're not. We got a lot going on, boss. Appreciate you checking in here. I am your host, Jeff Lloyd, at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd. He is your host, Garrett Bush, at GBush91. Today's episode is brought to you by Blue Nile. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Browns listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive includes engagements. So if it's time, fellas, go ahead and step up and make it happen. Use the promo code Locked On at checkout. We had mentioned with the last week of mandatory OTAs, Coach Stefanski was going to kind of keep things fun, kind of keep things fresh. And when you get to this point here, guys are seeing this last 5-week window before they turn for good to start the, season in late July, whether it's getting away a little bit, whether it's getting into the last bit of preparation for what everybody anticipates to be a fun, exciting, certainly a lot of, expectations for the Browns here in 2022. So in order to do that with guys maybe with their eyes past this, yesterday you take a trip down to Canton to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Garrett Bush's old neck of the nape, the old backyard for G. Bush over here. And the funny thing is, and I think the thing for me, Garrett, that makes this interesting with a player like Myles Garrett is, look, we know Myles Garrett is an incredible football player. He's an incredible talent. But the one thing we also know about Myles Garrett is it's not just the fact that he is a football player. He is not this, eat, drink, sleep, pigskin type of guy. Many other interests, obviously, big basketball fan. A lot of interests, outside of, whether it's Dungeons and Dragons, whether it is, his asphyxiation for dinosaurs, things of this nature. He's a well-rounded young man, very intelligent young man. But when it came to something like this, and I think for me, this is where it was a little different. Like if you told me it was a player like Joel Bitonio, who we think maybe is the one guy on this roster who has a real solid shot at one day being in Canton, Ohio. If you had told me Myles Garrett was like, oh, nope, no way. I am not walking in that building. I don't want to jinx anything. It's a superstition. I think for Myles, it would just seemed a little bit outside of his character. And, just because he is a well-rounded guy, he plays football. He's really good at it. He's really successful at it. But we know it's not all that Myles Garrett is. So it's kind of interesting the way this all played out, Jay.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting. I think Myles Garrett is a little playful. And he really, goes about his business. He's not too up or down. He's always a guy that's been more of a I wouldn't say a kid, but he plays with that youthful exuberance, right? So I think this usually happens to guys around their fifth, sixth, seventh year in the league, they start to realize after they get that big contract and they're secure financially. Myles Garrett got the big deal. He's on his second contract. When you get that bag of money, you start to look around and you start to examine what's going on in your life and figure out what's important. Just like most men, you start to look towards things like a family. You start looking towards, hey, do I need to really buy this? I'm looking to invest in a home. I'm looking to be married. All those things are part of growing up, getting older. And I think you always see this turn in professional athletes, especially in a sport like football, where it's so brutal. Injuries happen. You're not promised tomorrow. You start to look and say, it's all about championships. It's all about it's all about the goals on the field, and it's all about getting to the next level. And for Myles Garrett, his next level is, can I put some stuff together to become a defensive player of the year? He won't say it, but I think he feels like he's definitely chasing Aaron Donald, and I think he's competing with T.J. Watt as a guy, and I think Myles Garrett wants to be known undoubtedly as the best pass rusher in his generation, and to do that, he has to focus in and lock in. And a lot of people say, "Well, I don't like him talking about stats." I have no problem with it. In life, you set goals, man. I don't know what kind of country you think we are in. The United States of America is a country that likes to be good at everything. We strive to be great at everything, or at least we used to. But we set your goals down, accomplish your goals, move towards something, have some ambition about yourself. And if Myles Garrett says, "Hey, I don't really feel comfortable stepping foot in the Pro Football Hall of Fame because I'm not there yet. That's the place I want to be. And for me, I'm not going for no tourist attraction. I'll stay in a hotel, give me a test or a quiz, or let me post up. But no disrespect, my goal is to get there. And I really admire people that have the what's to say, hey, my goal is the Super Bowl. My goal is championship, and that's the bottom line for me. So I don't got a problem with it. I think it's a little bit of superstition with it. I like the edge that he seems to have. He's becoming more of a vocal leader, and so now I think that's going to motivate him to go out there and get those sacks. So people are going to say, "Hey, I don't care what you do. You got 5 sacks at the end of 2022. All that Hall of Fame talk. What'd you do that for?" So he's holding himself to a higher standard. I don't got a problem with it. What are your thoughts on it?
I totally agree with you. And I think for a player like Myles, he's put himself out there like this in the past. We all talk about, the QB graveyard in Halloween last year that he had put out in the front yard or whatever. And you saw post game, with certain quarterbacks, "Oh man, you put me in the graveyard." I know Lamar Jackson was one of them. Kyler Murray was another one. And for a player like Myles, and when sometimes I think this is maybe where Myles gets misconstrued, is because he is more of a laid back guy, because he has various interests. I think there's people who wonder what exactly the commitment is to the game. The commitment is to his craft. Obviously, there's times where even if you maybe think he's a little bit off the beaten path, and maybe, he's not as football focused as he'd like to be, these old button down people from the 70s and the 60s. He truly is. And, he understands what the importance of that building is. And to say, I one day want to walk in there and I want the jacket. I don't want to buy a ticket. I will go if my teammates are being inducted. But damn it, that's where my ultimate goal is to be. I want to be mentioned as a NFL Hall of Famer, as one of the greatest players that ever played this game. So for Myles, hey, I love it. But like you said, he certainly has put himself out there a little bit. There will be some trash talk from opposing left tackles, in which we've seen in the past. Most of them, they better say it quick, because Myles is going to be going by in a heartbeat. So if you got to get your words in, get them in real quick against Myles Garrett next year if you got a problem with this. But Garrett, this kind of also leads to, look, everybody's got these type of things. And if you think you don't have some superstitious to you, or just some things about the way you have to do what you do, it's a crock. Everybody has something like this somehow, some way within their life and within their daily routine.
I don't understand why. I don't understand why people think that's a bad thing. Like if your kid comes home and says, "Listen, my goal is to one day be an engineer. In my long-term goal, I want to go to this certain college, and I want to get honor roll this year, have a 3.8 GPA or better throughout the rest of this year." you would commend that person and you say, man, I got such a bright daughter. I got such a bright son. Look at the goals they set for themselves. They got a plan. They're not messing around. And we really appreciate her focus. Why is it when it comes to athletes that has to be looked at as a negative thing, or they want money? Listen, hey, we all want to be at the top of our profession. Don't we all want to say we earn the most, bring the most to the table, are the most valuable to our organizations, or our places of work, or don't we all want to say we're the best students? Of course. So I don't know why this came into play. Sometimes I just think people say things when it comes to athletes that they don't say anybody else, because there's a level of jealousy a little bit. There's a level of envy. There's a level of admiration too. So it's all mixed up in one, but everybody has goals, and I don't want to be around nobody that don't got goals. If you don't got no goals, what we hanging out for? I know Jeff got goals. He want to get this podcast to as big as I do, right? So, why would I come in and be like, oh, well, I don't know. Jeff is, he's a little too ambitious for me. No, I respect that. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get it there with you, bro. I want to be around winners, and that's a winning mentality.
There's no question about it. And for me, like, look, I mean, I will tell you right now, I could pass out on my couch for 3.5 hours and maybe sleep through the night. But, and my wife and my daughters know, my wife, like, she walks around here every morning and it's, where's my cell phone? Where's my purse? Where's my keys? I will tell you right now, my keys, my wallet, whatever cash I have on me, and my bank cards, they are in the same exact spot, probably from 10 p.m. till 6:30 a.m. when I fit. And if they are not there, like, I literally will go crazy. I will flip my stuff. And my wife, oh, well, I rearranged. No, absolutely unacceptable. There was a time she moved the nightstand. Nope. This cannot be done. And look, everybody's day gets off the rails and you eventually lose your day. But for me, the goal is, let's at least start it correctly. You know what I'm saying? And the bank cards, look, the wallet, the only thing in the wallet nowadays is the driver's license. But in between the wallet, the trifold, are the bank cards, are the cash placed on top of the phone, which is charging, keys right next to it. So guess what? If I got to go in 5 seconds or I got 5 hours, I know exactly where everything is. Nothing's going to delay me, and the day has started. But for Myles, it's understanding and putting a statement out there that being the best at what I do is important to me. And you want to know what? I don't deserve to go in and look around at Lawrence Taylor, because guess what would happen? All of his teammates, yo, man, you're going to be up there one day. Wow, they're going to put you right there. You're going to put you right there. And guess what? You're losing the ultimate sight of what your goal is. My goal, yes, is to get here. I ain't looking out to, pick out what room I got in the house yet. I ain't here yet. So it ain't going to work that way for Myles Garrett. So I give him a lot of respect for this. A, number one, put himself out there. But B, it also kind of shows everybody, where Myles' focus is at, not just for 22, but for maybe the next 5 years here as a Cleveland Brown. We're going to get to a little bit more here on today's Locked On Browns. Robbie Anderson, certainly a little bit of a chatty cat from the Carolina Panthers. Some thoughts on Baker Mayfield. Now maybe some thoughts that, if there was a Baker Mayfield move to Carolina, Robbie Anderson could possibly be finding his way back here to the Browns. We certainly got some thoughts on that. We're going to get to that here. Latest Locked On Browns, Jeff Lloyd, and of course, Garrett Bush. At BlueNile.com, you can celebrate all of life's special moments, from creating the custom engagement ring of your dreams, to her dreams, I should say, to getting a classic and timeless jewelry piece, all at prices you won't find at a traditional jeweler. Whether you are ready to pop the question or you're celebrating a milestone moment, find jewelry as unique as her with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. Build the engagement ring of her dreams, or again, celebrate life's special moments with fine jewelry. A bracelet for an anniversary, a necklace for Valentine's Day. No matter what you were looking for, Blue Nile has jewelry experts on hand 24/7. Make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Browns listeners get $50 off purchases of $500 or more. This podcast exclusive includes engagement. Again, use the promo code Locked On, all caps, no space. Plus, every order is insured. It ships free. It arrives in a discreet package that will not give away what is inside. Shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today.
Welcome back to Locked On Browns podcast. G. Bush, my man Jeff Lloyd. And guess what, man? Shout out to everybody. We got them 1,000, man. We got to the 1,000. Shout out to everybody out there that's been rocking with us for the month. It's been a great month of talking Browns with you, making, this is the one-stop shop for all the information concerning the Cleveland Browns every single day. Thank you so much. Continue to support, though. 1,000 is great, but we always want to continue to improve, always want to continue to move those numbers up. So if you have not, this is the first time hearing this podcast, please go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you hit the notification bell, hit that subscribe button so you get all the updates on the Locked On Browns podcast. And we also want to encourage you to follow us on the Locked On Browns Twitter page as well. So, Jeff, before we left, we talked a little bit about a guy, Robbie Anderson. And, he's a guy who has already, you don't really know, a guy that has been here in the past. Also is a guy who had an issue with Baker Mayfield. He just basically came out and said, hey, I don't want Baker Mayfield on the squad, right? And he's speaking from a perspective of the Carolina Panthers. And so for me, I don't know, that kind of service, that kind of bravado, we really don't even get down with that. Odell Beckham Jr. refused to even he didn't even do very many press conferences, right? And he stayed chill, but he wasn't even talking spicy like that. I'm like, this is for me. If you're a guy like Robbie Anderson, this is a classic case of guys. Remember a guy named Freddie Mitchell for the Eagles? He really wasn't all that good. Yeah. Freddie Mitchell, you wasn't all that good. You wasn't fast. You really wasn't a dynamic player. You was borderline a special teams guy and a serviceable receiver. And he talked his way into the league, and that kept him there for a while. Robbie Anderson is an okay receiver. I could live without him. I can go get me 2 or 3 other people that can give me what he got. He do a lot of extra. And my thing is, too, I heard the opportunity for the trade. I'm like, bro, we got enough problems as it is right now. We getting questions about the Deshaun Watson or whatever and all this other stuff for a guy who is a complimentary receiver with limited ability that talks that much. I'm like, nah, bro. Listen, give me. I'll take my chances with David Bell and Anthony Schwartz and whoever else comes along. But I mean, if you talking spicy like that already, what you gonna do when you get here, right? You know that all being on a better team, all that does is inflate your ability to start talking and doing extra stuff. I'm usually the guy that never really looks too much into what guys say or in the locker room type cancers or whatever you want to say for people that or the distraction word. But this dude, nah, I'm cool. I'm straight. Give me somebody else. Give me a 6th-round pick or some cleat. Give me a pair of cleats, a lifetime supply, a post office stamps, and a box of Lucky Charms. And I'll take that over Robbie Anderson.
There's a couple of things here. There's maybe kind of 2 ways to look at this from the standpoint of where Robbie Anderson is coming from. One, Robbie Anderson, his entire career, he's played with Sam Darnold through 4 years now, 2 years with the Jets. They both had ended up with the Carolina Panthers the last 2 years. So maybe he's backing his boy. And Robbie Anderson got to Carolina on a free agent deal, made some money. Most of that isn't due in part to, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's never really had great success, but Robbie Anderson has had some success with Sam Darnold. The other thing is the head coach of the Carolina Panthers, Matt Rule. Matt Rule was Robbie Anderson's coach at Temple University. I was actually at Robbie Anderson's pro day at Temple University a couple of years ago. They were close, and obviously Robbie Anderson was one of the players that helped Matt Rule climb from Temple to do a fantastic job at Baylor to lead to what is this incredible contract he's got with the Carolina Panthers, for however long it may be. So maybe this is hey, I'm backing my guys. Or there is I'm looking out for myself and I'm going to say the right things. And if we do trade for Baker Mayfield, maybe now I can't be here because I already disrespected the guy who's going to be starting quarterback. Cleveland looks a lot more appealing. They look to be a lot more better competitive team. It could be a mess down here in Carolina. I might have to wait a little bit, but I may be able to play with Deshaun Watson, who's a much better quarterback. So there's 2 ways to look at this from the Robbie Anderson standpoint. But then there is also this. If Robbie Anderson was coached in college by Matt Rule, if Matt Rule is ready to move on from one of his own guys, kind of tells you something maybe where Robbie Anderson is the type of guy you want to deal with. I spoke about it yesterday. You bring Robbie Anderson here. Look, you moved on from Odell. Jarvis, not nearly as much. but you moved on from the extra strength Tylenol wide receivers by bringing in an Amari Cooper type of guy. So you go from that to bringing in another guy where it's, oh, you know what? Never mind. We do need, no, I don't need the 30. I don't need the 60. Get me the 180 gel caps, because that's the amount of headaches this guy is going to bring with him. Now, it was 2 years in Carolina. 2020 was his best year in the NFL. 95 receptions, over 1,000 yards. Now, last year, 53 receptions for 513 yards. This is a guy whose main role in the NFL has been to be a deep vertical receiver. 53 receptions for 513 yards. Running backs do this, Garrett. This is what you get from a good receiving running back.
That's Najee Harris.
There you go. So if we all feel one of the biggest things they need to open things up is this big vertical threat, well, he didn't prove he was that last year. Granted, right now, the way they redid the contract, he's only on the books for $1 million salary-wise, a bunch in salary bonus. But this is one, no, hard pass. And look, you could probably go get Will Fuller for the same money, do the same type of thing. Ideally, you're banking on Donovan. You're banking on David Bell. You are banking on, a growth here in year two from Anthony Schwartz. This is a headache by all means. And look, if it came down to, Carolina, it's Baker, whatever, some money exchanged, conditional day 3 pick, whatever it is. No, Robbie Anderson, we're good. Well, I don't need that here. Jacoby Brissett certainly doesn't need that. I was open. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, the play was called for David Njoku first, Amari Cooper second as far as the progression, and then the running back third. You literally were just running the 9 route to clear everything out. I don't care if you were open. You were never option. This is a guy you don't need. And for Robbie Anderson, look, great way to play this for yourself, Robbie Anderson. A really, really smart play for a guy who's generally, regarded as a little bit of a knucklehead. But way to play both ends of the fence here for Robbie Anderson. But no, there's a hardest of hard passes here. No, thank you.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, he got some vertical deep threat, but I'm like you said, if I can go get Will Fuller or somebody else like that, I already got one of the fastest dudes in the game, Anthony Short, sitting here. Maybe he can just run straight really fast, and we'll get him the football. I'm cool on him, man. One of those things. If you've already said, all right, we got rid of Odell Beckham Jr. and moved on from Jarvis Landry, and you got younger guys that you want to draft and give some positions and some catches and reps to, I'm cool on that. I'm gonna just go ahead and rock out with what we got, bro.
We've got one segment to go here, and it started with obviously sports radio legend Chris Mad Dog Russo yesterday as far as ranking professional sports cities. I'm going to have to be somewhat impartial here. I can comment on the area that I am from, but we are going to give Mr. G. Bush the floor here, as Chris Mad Dog Russo had Cleveland, Ohio, and Northeast Ohio as the number 1 sports fan base in all of America. We're going to get to that just a second here on your latest Locked On Browns. You know how our friends at Built are always coming out with new amazing flavors. Well, this time Built has truly outdone themselves with their new mud pie flavor. And for the first time ever, Built is introducing the new mud pie flavor in both a mud pie bar and a mud pie puff. You're not exactly sure what mud pie tastes like? Well, if you're a chocolate fan, you better sit down for this one. The new mud pie bar is rich whipped cream and chocolate mousse smothered in 100% real chocolate and topped with cookies and cream crumble. You've got to try mud pie as soon as possible. And you need to hurry because the mud pie bar and the mud pie puff are only available for a limited time offer. Visit Built.com to taste the deliciousness for yourself. You're not convinced? Luckily, we saved the best for last. It's actually good for you. No, really, all Built products are low calories, high protein, and low sugar. Mud pie is packed with 16 grams of protein and only 150 calories and 8 grams of sugar. It's like your mom baked the most delicious creamy chocolate mud pie and wrapped it up just for you. Mud pie bars and puffs are available at Built.com right now, but they're going fast because they are delicious. Like all Built bars, they are covered in 100% real chocolate. That means they are healthy and tasty. What's great about Built is that all their bars are made with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides tons of health benefits. Eat something that it tastes good and is good for you. It just generally makes you look better, your skin. Give it a shot. You are going to love the new Mud Pie Built Bar and Built Puff. Whether You need it for your workout, a late night treat, or just need to grab a quick bite. Built is the perfect protein bar, and they taste better than a candy bar. Chocolate mousse, whipped cream, crumbled cookies and cream. Stop drooling. Get to Built.com to order your box of mud pie bars and puffs now. You will not regret it. Go to Built.com. Use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Again, promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com.
Welcome back to the Locked On Browns podcast. G. Bush, Jeff Lloyd in the building. Make sure you guys continue to make Locked On your first stop. Continue to make this the one place to get your honest, open, and X's and O's, basically. This is the place you get it. You can, I do opinion stuff sometimes. I do laughing stuff, but this is all analysis. And this is what you come for sports, right? Sometimes you can come to different places and you just want to be entertained. Sometimes you want opinion, but here on Locked On Browns, this is all business. We have a little fun from time to time, but basically we breaking down your team, your coaches, your franchise, and do it every single day. So make sure we are part of your day as well. Before we went to break, we talked a little bit about the host, Mad Dog. It was on. I believe he was on First Take with Stephen A. Smith, and he talked about Cleveland being the number one sports city in the game. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I grew up in Canton, Ohio, and when I grew up in high school, the Browns left in '95. I started high school in '96. So as I was playing high school ball from '96 to 2000, I had no recollection of what the Cleveland Browns were. Toughest years of my life, man. Like, just walking around, it's almost like walking around without a father, walking around without any sort of direction. You just on Sundays don't mean nothing. And when the Browns had an opportunity to come back, I was in college and we were moving and when they came back, not only was I ecstatic and happy, it was everybody around the world. See, the Browns, a lot of teams, you might be good in Kansas City, right? You might have fans that no disrespect in Green Bay. You might have some great fans in Big D in Dallas. And the 49ers got a great legacy. But there is no team that has backers like the Cleveland Browns. I got a Browns backer Hawaii shirt. I'm in contact with the Browns backers throughout the country, right? They reach out to me like, yo, I love your Browns content. And to put it in perspective, when I started my YouTube channel, I got maybe 7,000 followers now. But I found out really quickly, they weren't trying to hear about no Indian/Guardian stuff. I do some Cavs blogs, but they ain't trying to hear about the Cavs too much, right? They give it a chance and they give it a shot, when the Cavs are good. But I can get on my channel, and my channel was made a Browns channel. It didn't start that way. But the people and the way they represented it, and the people, the way they looked at it was like, look, we like your Browns content. That's what we're looking for. So the majority of what I do is Browns content. No team can say this. If the Cleveland Browns win a championship, there will be a parade in all four corners of the United States and the globe, right? You got people in London. You got people in Paris, people in South America, people in Australia, people in Scandinavian country, right? All those people are diehard Browns fans, and we ain't had nothing to be happy about in 10, 20, 30, 50 years. And we still get to turn out, and we still do numbers on YouTube, and we still wear our Browns colors. To us, the Browns are the deal, and to me, I always said, the Browns are America's team.
For me, there's a couple avenues here. And, living in the tri-state area, many trips to Yankee Stadium, many trips to see the Mets play, many trips to what is now, MetLife, where the Jets and the Giants play. And what you saw, and, you go to this during even like the heyday of the New York Yankees, you see like the choice seats behind home plate. These people, they're not fans. When you're wearing, your button-down shirt and your tie and you throw a Yankee jersey over it.
That's so trash. That's so trash.
And literally, and now I will go to the New Jersey Nets in the late 90s, early 2000s, had two trips to the NBA Finals. Me and buddies, once Jason Kidd was acquired to the New Jersey Nets, we got season tickets. It was something to do, and I thought everybody was single as opposed to going to like happy hours and, oh, my friend over there thinks your friend is cute. This is something we did. We'd go have a couple drinks. The Nets were unstoppable. They were a great team. They kind of played like the Lakers of the 80s. They were fast. They were quick. And all of a sudden it got good. And now here came all the white shirts, the accountants, the doctors. And we're sitting there, and we had really good seats. And the reason we had really good seats is because when we bought the tickets, the Nets sucked. So we're sitting there. Jason Kidd throws up a triple-double. And my buddy's sitting next to me, listens to the guy next to him tell his wife, yeah, this guy Kidd, he's pretty good. We were like, oh, sweet Jesus in the morning. Like, this is what is now coming to this. Cleveland, it isn't that way. You know, the kids raised Cleveland fans. And this is what I've gotten to learn in my years of hosting this show. You know, many people I follow here, I see all the Guardians tweets every night. Everybody excited about the young players. And in the same second, cringing, oh my God, don't get too good too fast because you'll be out of here. The Browns fans, it's yes, every Cleveland Brown fan would love a Super Bowl title. And I am telling you right now, if that was a parade, it wouldn't be a few hours. It wouldn't be a day. It most likely would be 72 hours, if not a week. Like, it would never end. And if you think emergency rooms are crowded now, imagine what they would be like if the Browns actually won a Super Bowl. I think everyone is also, most Cleveland Browns fans are to the assumption of, I will never see a Super Bowl title. It doesn't stop them from watching every week. It doesn't stop them from purchasing their gear. It doesn't stop them from showing up every Sunday to the Muni lot, getting their groove on, having a great time. It is more, I think the thing that I can truly describe about the way the Cleveland Browns fan base is, it is like a college fan base. We might not be good this year. We might be good next year. But I think that is what it's truly like. It is blood. It is ingrained into their DNA. They don't know any other way to do it. They understand that, you know, even for all the years this team has not had success, maybe one day it's coming. There's definitely plenty who think it's never coming, but it does not change their affinity, their affection, their passion, and their love for this franchise. And I think this is fair because bigger cities get them right off the list. It doesn't work that way. LA, New York, it doesn't work that way. It's got to be in a somewhat smaller city, a somewhat smaller environment. And it certainly doesn't hurt that everybody's had to throw in their 2 cents for years upon years now about, you know, what the whole that Cleveland is, disrespecting the city, disrespecting the people who make the city what it is. And I think that is truly why that this is a fair, accurate statement. It's a fan base unlike any other, Garrett.
Yep. Yeah. And I stand by that. Stand by it. You know, there's other great cities and there's a lot of great things. No disrespect to anybody else, but for what we've done, endured, and the fervor at which we continue to root for our teams, to continue to support our teams, and to continue to show out in large numbers for whatever team it is, I think it's for me and for a lot of other people that like me, believe Cleveland is the best city.
And I'm totally with it. And, you know, and for Cleveland fans, you know, great. This is all we get. Look, guys, be happy with it. And you'll all love that LeBron moment. Obviously, you know, oh, so close in the World Series a few years ago. The Sunday night of the Browns just absolutely lambasting Pittsburgh and Hines. Let's all hope there's more better days than just that. No question about it. So we've gotten to some things here. You know, Myles Garrett basically putting himself on there, that island, and saying, this ain't my place. I want it to one day be my place, so I am not going to go peeking in on something that is not mine yet. Robbie Anderson, whatever his end game is here, hopefully it leads to, you know, any other city in the NFL but Cleveland. And of course, you know, Garrett waxing oh so poetic about the city of Cleveland and the fandom that does exist within it. He is Garrett Bush, host of The Barbershop Saturday mornings, 92.3 The Fan. Of course, certainly the ultimate Cleveland sports show. Just get better and better as the days go on. If you did not hear the Garrett Bush, Joe Jaravich's story yesterday, because even as Garrett is telling it, like, it is so funny because anybody who's ever done guest spots, it's always the same old thing. Hi, Jeff, this is Colin. The guys really appreciate having you on the show. We just got to get through about 90 seconds of ads, and the guys are going to jump into you. And it's truly fantastic. But these folks to think Garrett was who he was not is absolutely hysterical. And then
crazy,
Garrett
right?
also thinking, man, the last thing I want to do is get this poor producer in a predicament. So at least there'll be some sort of spot. You've
Right.
got to hear it. I literally almost had to put the car in park because it was not something to listen to while driving. So go ahead, make sure you check that out. Following at GBush91. Me personally at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd. The show itself at Locked On Browns. Follow back account. DMs are open. We appreciate everybody. Again, the growth over the 1,000 marks, which we were, so much hoping for. We are excited, but certainly not satisfied. Let's keep the growth going there. Whatever podcast platform you use, make sure you follow, subscribe to the show, 5-star ratings, written reviews. It's been a blast here today. One more going for the week as the Browns basically are, just like the kids, cleaning out the lockers, packing up the backpacks, headed off for summer to come back in July. With all that being said, this has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound. LGB on the LOB. Let's go Browns.